Cześć, jestem Paulina Lipiec i witam Cię na Polski Daily. Welcome to my channel. In this lesson, I'm going to teach you how to read dates in Polish. This is pretty important and pretty complicated topic, so I'm going to go step by step, revising some very basic numbers, months, and years. And you can always pause the video, write down your notes, and take your time. This is a lecture, so we don't have a chance to talk, you don't have a chance to ask questions, although you can always comment below and you can leave me some of your examples. If you like my lesson, don't forget to give me a thumb up, subscribe, and visit my website www.polskidaily.eu. From my website, you can also download the full presentation I prepared for you today and just work on it with a teacher on your own. A teraz czas na lekcję. Trzymam kciuki. Powodzenia! We are going to start with a small revision of the ordinal numbers. They are very important because they are used to count days in the month. Because days, so in Polish, dni, are masculine, the numbers are going to be masculine as well. And they will change the endings later, also according to the masculine declination. I will read them so you can repeat after me. And if you're more advanced, just skip this a few seconds or maybe minutes to go to a little bit more complicated stuff. Okay? Pierwszy, drugi, trzeci, czwarty, piąty, szósty, siódmy, ósmy, dziewiąty, dziesiąty, jedenasty, dwunasty, trzynasty, czternasty, piętnasty, szesnasty, siedemnasty, osiemnasty, dziewiętnasty, dwudziesty, dwudziesty pierwszy, dwudziesty drugi, dwudziesty trzeci, dwudziesty czwarty, dwudziesty piąty, dwudziesty szósty, dwudziesty siódmy, dwudziesty ósmy, dwudziesty dziewiąty, trzydziesty, trzydziesty pierwszy. Now we're going to revise months. If you want the full explanation why these months are called like this, why we just didn't copy the Latin months, like for example Russian, then I'll link a link to my blog posts where I explain everything in English, because each of these names have kind of interesting etymology. But here you have two forms. The form on the left, it's nominative case, so mianownik, and this is the very basic case. The second form on the right is after preposition w, meaning in, so it must be a locative, miejscownik. So we have styczeń, w styczniu, luty, w lutym, marzec, w marcu, kwiecień, w kwietniu, maj, w maju, czerwiec, w czerwcu, lipiec, w lipcu, sierpień, w sierpniu, wrzesień, we wrześniu, październik, w październiku, listopad, w listopadzie, grudzień, w grudniu. Okay, I hope now you remember them all and we can go to a little bit more complicated things. First, we're going to learn how to use months with days. Before, we had these endings u for most of the months after preposition v when we don't have a day. We just had only month. For example, in January, I'm going on holidays. W styczniu jadę na wakacje. And notice that luty had different ending because luty is an adjective. Why? I don't know. And probably no one knows. And listopadzie also had a different ending. This is just because of the being a hard consonant at the end, and you don't have to remember it. Just memorize that w lutym and w listopadzie are a little bit different. So now when we have a day, when we have a normal date, we have to use a different case. We're going to use genitive. In Polish, it's dopełniacz. We don't have u anymore. Now, for most of the months, we have a. So we have stycznia, lutego, marca, kwietnia, maja, czerwca, lipca, sierpnia, września, października, listopada, grudnia. Look, here even listopad got a normal ending, but luty is still a little bit rebellious. So we had lutego. So when we put a day before the month, we have to read it like this. 1 stycznia, 2 lutego, 3 marca. We combine the normal number, the ordinal number, masculine of course, in mianownik, nominative, and month in genitive. So with a, ego, a, and so on. But for example, when the date is the subject of a sentence, because you want to talk more on this particular day, you will use this nominative genitive construction. You would say 1 stycznia to nowy rok, or 2 lutego to ładny dzień, meaning it's a nice weather on 2nd of February. I don't know in which country, surely not in Poland. Anyway, these forms are used when you're not talking about the date of a certain event that happened. It's just very general. It's going to be different when you have a certain event on this date, and the event or the person is going to be the subject, not the date. We don't describe the date. We describe the person, we describe what the person is doing, some event. A date is just an additional information. So here we have 1 stycznia, mój brat ma urodziny. 1 stycznia, genitive, genitive, dopełniacz, dopełniacz. The subject of the sentence is mój brat, not the date. Another example. 5 lutego moi rodzice obchodzą rocznicę ślubu. On the 5th of February, my parents celebrate their wedding anniversary. 14 maja zacząłem nową pracę. On the 14th of May, I started a new job. 11 listopada jest święto niepodległości. On 11th of November, it is the Independence Day. 31 grudnia będę na urlopie. On the 31st of December, I'm going to be on holidays. Notice here that when we have a date which is more than 20, you have to put both parts, both elements of this day into genitive. So we have 31 grudnia. Everything is in genitive. Now let's revise a little bit the years. How do we pronounce and how do we name the years from 100 up? 100, 200. Remember this one because everyone always forgets how to say 200. 300, 400, 500, 600, 700, 800, 900, 1000, 2000, Now, when you already know the hundreds and some thousands, we can talk about something pretty complicated. So, what happens when you have to say in the year 1000 or in 1945 and this kind of years? Now, we're not talking about months, we're not talking about days yet because it will get more complicated. Let's focus on the years only. If you have a year that ends in 3 zeros, so it's very, how do you call it in English? Round. In Polish, it's called okrągły rok, a round year. Then you just say w roku tysięcznym and you treat the whole number, the whole 1000 as an ordinal number. The same will happen with 2000 w roku 2000. And because we have w, remember that v always triggers locative. And the very first thing that will come after v, let's ignore roku, the number that will come after v will be in locative, tysięcznym. If we also have 100, then the first rule is somehow cancelled, and now the thousands will stay very basic, very normal cardinal numbers, and the hundreds will be ordinal numbers in locative. So we will have w tysiąc, notice this is normal, 800, 800, or w 2000 setnym. Again, 2000 stayed basic, setnym was changed into ordinal number in locative. I wrote w roku, w roku, w roku, w roku everywhere, but you don't have to say it. You can just omit it and you can say w 2100, w 1800, and so on. And of course, these two first examples were less common because naturally we don't speak so much about these particular years. Most common scenario is when you have some other digits at the end, and then the first two digits will be cardinal numbers, and you will change only the two last digits into ordinal numbers, and you will put them in locative. So you will have w 1900, basic form, nothing changes, 50, locative, ordinal number. W 2021, again, 2000 didn't change at all. 20 changed, pierwszym changed, locative, miejscownik. If this lesson is a little bit too fast for you, you can always pause, you can read it to yourself, you can use your own examples. And if you're a member of Polski Daily, you can print the presentation out and just, highlight, write notes, write examples, process it. Okay, surely you will need more time. This is just the lecture, and then all the work is on you. Now we're going to go to dates. So months and the years. So far, we're not talking about days, only months and years. As I already told you, whenever you see v in a date, it means the first element that comes after v must be in locative. But the next element, the second element, will be in genitive. So we have this construction w, locative, genitive. Or in Polish, w, miejscownik, dopełniacz. And that's why we have this date, for example. W marcu 1915. Marcu is in locative, that's why we have u. And 1915, we only change the last digit because we have a full number to ego, because that's the adjectival and numeral for ordinal numbers, numeral ending for genitive masculine. Another example. W kwietniu 1983. Again, w kwietniu, locative, 83, genitive. W lutym 2001. W sierpniu 2020. W styczniu 1880. And here, please notice that something changed. We have only hundreds. We have 00. W maju 1000 stays normal. 900 will be changed to genitive. Okay, and now we arrived to the full date. I hope that you're still on this journey with me, maybe after a few pauses, who knows. We are going to talk about full date, day, month, and year. So as I said, when there's no particular event and the date is your subject, then you have to use the construction nominative, genitive, genitive. In Polish, mianownik, dopełniacz, dopełniacz. So we can say 24 listopada 2020 był pięknym dniem. 24. This is the number in nominative. Nothing was changed. Very basic ending. Then we have listopada, genitive, the ending a. 2020, ego, that's the ending for a year, also genitive. You may have a question to me, why listopada gets a if it's genitive, but 20 gets ego if it's also a genitive. This is because months aren't considered nouns, and that's why they get a. But numbers, ordinal numbers, they change endings like adjectives. Okay, and now if we have an event and something else happens, the date is not the center of attention, then we have to put genitive, genitive, genitive. That's why we will have 24 listopada 2020 urodził się mój syn. So on the 24th November of 2020, my son was born. We have ego, ego, again, genitive, listopada, genitive, 2020, also genitive. Here I have a few dates for you, so you can practice. I combined these dates with some common events. I would like to encourage you to actually write the history of your family, write a few events from your past. You can even paste them into comments on YouTube. And if it's not too much, then maybe I can correct them for you. 21 października 1950 moi dziadkowie wzięli ślub. My grandparents got married. 1 marca 2010 przeprowadziliśmy się do Polski. 14 czerwca 1993 mój ojciec skończył uniwersytet. My father graduated. 4 września 2000 pierwszy raz byłem w Polsce. I went to Poland for the first time. 9 lutego 2020 otworzyłem swoją restaurację. I opened my own restaurant. I think that's the worst date to open a restaurant. Okay. 3 grudnia 1983 poznałem swoją żonę. I met my wife. And that's all in this lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go to Polski Daily, where you can find some extra exercises about dates and about anything else you want to learn in Polish. If you like this lesson, give me a thumb up and subscribe, and maybe even send it to some other students who need some help with dates. Do zobaczenia w następnej lekcji.